Imagine this. It's 1919, and you just came back from fighting in the bloodiest war humanity has ever seen. You spent 4 years in the mud and trenches of France, watching your friends die, and all of that for what? A country that pays you nothing? A government that doesn't care about you? You come home to the same poverty you left behind. Birmingham is still the same shithole. Your family still lives in a cramped back-to-back house. Your father still drinks away all his money. Nothing has changed. Except you. You've seen too much, done too much. You can't go back to being a nobody. And then, you see them, the Peaky Blinders, local celebrities, gangsters with razor blades sewn into their caps, running the streets of Small Heath. They've got money, they've got power, they've got respect. Everything the war promised you but never delivered. So you join up. And over the next 15 years, you help transform a small back-alley razor gang into one of the most powerful criminal organizations in Britain. This is the economics of the
Peaky fucking Blinders.
Black coat with a red right hand.
Before we follow the Shelby family to millionaire status, we need to understand where they started. Because in 1919, the Peaky Blinders weren't some sophisticated crime syndicate. They were a street gang, and their business model? Surprisingly simple.
Thomas, you're a bookmaker, a robber, a fighting man.
The Shelby family's core business was illegal betting. In 1920s Britain, gambling was technically illegal. But here's the thing about prohibiting popular stuff. People don't stop. They just find other ways to do it. This is basic economics. When you create scarcity through prohibition, you don't eliminate demand. You just increase prices and push the supply underground. The Shelbys understood this perfectly. Now, the Shelbys mentions they make about £150 a day in profit from bookmaking. Doesn't sound like much? Well, £150 in 1920 is equivalent to roughly £8,500 today, or roughly $11,500. That's $4 million a year just from taking bets. Then, the Shelbys had the protection rackets. Here's how that works. You walk into a shop and make an offer to the owner. Pay us a weekly fee, and we'll make sure nothing bad happens to your store. And if they don't pay, well, something bad happens to their store. It's the oldest scam in the criminal playbook, creating a problem and then charging people to solve it. The Peaky Blinders controlled protection for the pubs and businesses of Small Heath. And if they had just 30 of these pubs under protection at £10 per week each, that's another £300 weekly, or roughly $1.3 million per year in today's money. Lastly, the light side of the business. Every good criminal organization needs a front, a legitimate business that can explain where all that cash is coming from. For the Shelbys, that was the Garrison Pub. It served as their headquarters, their meeting place, and most importantly, their money laundering operation. This is the first rule of criminal economics. Always have a way to clean your money. So what's this street operation actually worth? We're looking at about $4 million annually from bookmaking, another $1.3 million from protection, plus the Garrison's legitimate revenue and real estate value. $5.5 million. A solid criminal enterprise, but nothing extraordinary. The Shelbys were comfortable, but they weren't rich. Not yet. Here's the thing about making money illegally. Eventually, you have more cash than you know what to do with. And carrying around suitcases of banknotes isn't exactly practical. You need to put that money somewhere. Somewhere it can grow. Somewhere legitimate. Tommy's solution? Real estate. By season 3, the Shelbys own what they describe as 225 streets of back-to-back housing in Small Heath and the wider Birmingham area. These aren't luxury properties. They're working-class terraced houses. But there are a lot of them. We know from real-life literature that in 1920, a terraced house cost around £2,500 to build in Birmingham. With approximately 5 houses per street and 3 units per house, Tommy's portfolio includes roughly 3,375 rental units. And at a 5% rental yield, that's £135,000 in rent collected every year. Around $7.3 million annually in passive income. But here's the real kicker: the property value itself. Small Heath is not prime real estate, but those houses, valued at roughly £2.7 million in 1920s, would be worth approximately $280 million today. The Shelbys are starting to get rich. But Tommy doesn't limit himself to Birmingham. As his operations expand south, he buys property in London too, including the house for his sister Ada and several investment properties. His London real estate holdings are valued at around £120,000 in 1920 money, or about $12.5 million today. And then there's the crown jewel, the Shelby Manor. Even though Tommy decides to blow it up in the end, we still need to count this. It is inspired by Arley Hall, a real-life countryside estate in the Liverpool area. Now, the manor has never been sold, and therefore it is difficult to value, especially considering the rich history and the fact that it was the house of many lords. But just the fact it sits on 2,000 acres of land proves its worth. The land alone would be worth around £20 million. And as for the manor itself, easily another £10 to £15 million, meaning the total comes just shy of $50 million. So with all of their properties, the Peaky Blinders are starting to get real rich. Taking the yearly rent Tommy got from the small Heath houses, roughly $7.3 million in today's money, and applying a 10% discount rate, this perpetuity alone would be worth around $90 million, assuming a modest 2% yearly growth rate. Now adding the present value of these houses, another $280 million, and his manor and London real estate at another $60 million combined, his net worth is now around over $400 million. Congratulations, you've made it. You're rich. But you can't stop here. You're Tommy Shelby, so you do more. First, the jewelry heist. Out of nowhere, you find yourself dealing with the Russians and rob the royal family of some of the most expensive jewels in existence. And the heist is ordered by also the royal family? Whatever, not your problem. You got your £70,000.
Also, £5,000 for the sex.
£65,000. That's around £5 million today, or $6,075,000 US. And all you had to do was blow up some trains and some priests. Then, you steal Lord Suckerby's dodgy photos for him, and you make him pay the full £50,000, not a penny less, another $5.5 million. Then, you're already in Westminster, so why not have some government contracts as well?
3 5-year contracts to supply military vehicles to the British forces in India, Ceylon, Singapore, and Burma. Total value, £2 million.
Of course, this is revenue, not profit. But all large military companies like Lockheed Martin or Boeing work on a cost plus 7% margin. So your profit is £140,000 in 1925, or roughly £11 million today. That's another $15 million. Finally, the opium deal. Tommy gets his hand on 7 tons of Chinese opium. Now, it's not his, but he's the one ensuring safe passage. Looking at the post-COVID-19 prices, a kilo of heroin retails on the black market for around £25,000, meaning the total street value of Tommy's opium is around £175 million, as he uses his contacts and power as politician to transport it. His cut must be around 20%, which he also has to split with the Billy Boys, meaning Tommy's part is worth around £17.5 million, or about $24 million. To recap, you've made almost $7 million from the Russian jewelry heist, $5.5 million from blackmailing Lord Suckerby, set-in-stone contracts for another $15 million with the government, and are on track to make $24 million from transporting opium as a politician in your own country. Nice. Finally, the Peaky Blinders industrial portfolio. Firstly, their factories. Now, it is not clear exactly how many factories they own, but we can assume there were at least 5, mostly manual such factories. Assuming the value of each facility at around £50,000, Tommy's portfolio would be around £250,000 in the 1920s, or roughly $26 million. Secondly, his gin distillery. There's no telltale sign of how big the Shelby distillery was, although he does secure exporting licenses to the USA, so we can deduce it was fairly large. The real-life 1986 acquisition of the Distillers Company, a Scottish whiskey and gin producer, similar to the one in the show, buy Guinness can be used as a good proxy. Guinness bought the company for $4.1 billion in 1986, roughly $12 billion today. If Tommy's distillery was even 5% as big, it would still be worth $600 million. Finally, Charlie's Yard. Obviously, it's Charlie's, not Tommy's, but he still uses it extensively. The yard is a really valuable asset, as it allows the Peaky Blinders access to the canals of Birmingham, which they use to transport both legal and illegal goods. Without it, there is no Peaky Blinders. Charlie's Yard can easily be estimated at £50,000, so another $5.5 million. Congrats, you made it. You are officially a billionaire by today's standards. Of course, this excludes all the bars and restaurants you own in Birmingham and London, the businesses in America, all the money you made on the stock exchange, and the power you have as a politician. Just sheer cash. But this is your wealth before taxes. Don't forget to pay them. You are a legit businessman, not some kind of gangster.